The hour of 11:30 having arrived, the Santa Cruz City Council will come to order. And Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Certainly. Council members Triguero.
Here.
Bruner.
Present.
Newsom.
Present.
Boulder. Here. O'Hara.
Here.
Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson.
Present.
And Mayor Keeley.
Present. We do have a quorum. We are on statements of disqualification. Any member have a statement of disqualification they'd like to reveal at this point? I will be recusing myself on item 34 under consent public hearings, as I live next door to that particular proposed project. And the Vice Mayor will be prepared to handle that matter. This would be the opportunity for anyone to comment on our closed session agenda. In closed session, we will have the following items. We have a conference with legal counsel, 3 claims in front of us. We'll have a conference with legal counsel on anticipated litigation. We will have a conference with our labor negotiators on 2 bargaining units, and we will be taking up a public employee performance evaluation with labor negotiations involving the city manager and city attorney. Anyone with us wish to make comments on any of those items? Anyone online, Ms. Bush? No one? All right. What we will be doing is what we're going to do is we will be going into closed session. We will come out of that closed session and we will begin the council meeting. What we're going to do is we will not start that meeting before 1:30 this afternoon. We could be later than 1:30 this afternoon, but we will not be earlier than that. Everybody good? We are going to adjourn into closed session.
Recording stopped.
The hour of 1:30 having arrived and the council having completed its business in closed session, clerk will call the roll to reestablish a quorum.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Triguero.
Present.
Bruner.
Present.
Newsom.
Present.
Boulder. Here. O'Hara. Here. Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson.
Present.
Mayor Keeley.
Present. Having reestablished a quorum, we will move to oral communications. This is the opportunity for anyone who is with us, either in chambers or online, to address the body for a period not to exceed 2 minutes on any matter under our jurisdiction, but not on today's agenda. If you are here on an agenda item, when we get to that agenda item, you will be recognized to speak. This is oral communication. In the event that we have both folks in chambers and online, I'll start with Amy, and she'll come up, and then if we have a person online, we'll go to that person, then we'll toggle back and forth between online and in-line. Ms. Chen Mills, good afternoon.
Hi. Thank you for letting me speak. Thank you for your interest in this issue and your work on this matter. I wanted to bring up a few concerns that we still have as the Get the Flock Out organization, one of which is the data insecurity of the cameras themselves, the fact that the data in the cameras is not encrypted, the fact that these cameras can be hacked by anyone with like a device that they buy online. And the fact that we now have reports that data access is being sold on the dark web. So what this means now is that these cameras are exposing all of us to criminal activity if this is true. And Senator Ron Wyden has been looking into this dark web sales. But obviously this company is not really taking care of our data. We haven't seen our data being handled in a responsible way by this company, nor frankly, and I'm sorry to say it, by our police departments, where the ALPR policy was to have a written approval of every request that came in. How is it that millions of requests came in that were in violation of SB 34 and SB 54? We had a police chief stalking women, an outside police chief stalking women through Capitola data, searching Capitola data and Santa Cruz data. So my question about having memorandums with police departments is, will you give police officers a polygraph test when they are after criminal enterprises using this flock data. So my concern is, again, that we have so many violations already where we have regulations in place to stop these violations, and the data is being breached regardless. So I'm deeply concerned that we're aligning with someone who calls Fourth Amendment defenders terrorists and like Antifa. Is that where the city wants to fall, as an allegiance with a CEO like this? Thank you so much.
Online. We'll take the person online, then we'll be right with you. Person online, good afternoon. Welcome to the council meeting.
Hi, thank you very much. This is Julia Monahan with Get the Flock Out. I do want to thank Mayor and the council members for looking into this issue and taking a deep dive at what is really a very complex data security and civil rights issue. As much as we do continue to want to support our law enforcement and address crime in Santa Cruz, we have to continue to point out that the flaws with this system are not ones that can be fixed by the council, by our general counselor, or by our police department. The flock company itself has inherent issues in every aspect of its system and business practices, from the way that they have built the system, the literal components and ingredients that it's made out of, to the contracts that they present, to the ways in which they continue to allow entities to access their systems, such as ICE and others, without our knowledge. It's simply not a system that can be made safe. And, in an age when everything is being tracked and the government on a federal level has been announcing that they're creating dossiers on the population, on activists specifically, those of us in a sanctuary city need to protect those community members that are working to protect our migrant community neighbors. And we need your support to do this. This is something we cannot do alone. We all have to work together for public safety, and protecting our residents and our neighbors is part of that safety. So thank you so much. We look forward to talking to you on January 13th. And if you have any questions, please do reach out to our team. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Hi there.
Hi.
My name's Angeli Dion, and I'm a resident of the city of Santa Cruz. And as we've seen and heard, there are many articles and news reports, and Santa Cruz County's own police chiefs that have told us that flock security is not abiding by the law. It is not getting required permits or insurance. It is ignoring state law that does not allow the sharing of information with federal agencies or out of state. And in addition, it has no real oversight. There are no regulations that are keeping it within bounds. And as we've seen, it's just time and again shown us that it can't be trusted. And that part of this, and the city is paying hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to set up these cameras. And the thing that bothers me perhaps the most is that it's DHS who's funding this. I mean, DHS is not out to bust car thieves. DHS is out there to ruin the lives of brown and black people primarily. And these are people who are mostly improving the lives substantially of white people. And the racism that's behind this and behind so much of what the administration is doing really needs to be called out, I believe. And this is a case where it sounds good. You read about it. Oh, they caught 12 car thieves. It's like so many lives are going to be ruined by people who are deported from this country needlessly. So I feel that it is not making us more safe or secure.
Thank you. Another person online? We'll take them and we'll be right with you, sir. Person online, good afternoon. Welcome to the council meeting.
Hi, good afternoon. Darius Mosnine here. Speaking of public safety, I just want to register a annoyance grievance I have with this letters of authority procedure process where folks like myself who own apartment buildings, we need to give the police this letter of authority so they can, arrest oversight for trespassing, folks that come into our buildings. So I have a problem with one where a lot of homeless folks come in, they're using the laundry room, urinating in the sink and so forth. And the problem is you have to have this letter. It has to be renewed every year, needs to be notarized. And then I want to do one right now. We've been having a series of problems. They expire in end of January, and I have to do it all over again. Fill it out, notarize it, 1 year only. Why can't we just have it for a 3-year, 5-year period? And why notarization? So I really would really like somebody to look into this and see if there's a way to streamline this process, because it just seems like, again, the city, the police are putting obstacles in the way of landlords trying to protect their tenants from, various random folks coming in and causing trouble. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome.
Hi, my name is Sean Doherty. I live here in the city of Santa Cruz. I'm here to talk about the flock cameras. I can't believe that you are considering renewing that contract, especially after that national search breach. I don't understand how it can be the case that these cameras were providing data available to that nationwide search. Was that an oversight? Was that a misrepresentation on the part of the Flock Corporation to our police, or was it a misrepresentation by the police to the city council, or were we the citizens lied to? We can't trust this Flock camera system just given that one violation. There's no assurance that you can give me that will make me trust this system. And this is my second time attending one of these public comment sessions, and I have yet to see anyone from the community begging for you to keep these cameras and to renew this contract. The community does not want this. And I can tell you, it's not just activists. Just the other day, I was shopping at CVS, and the checkout clerk brought up cameras herself. She didn't know about Flock, and then I explained Flock to her, and I happened to have something in my car. I went and I gave it to her, and she thanked me. But we are uncomfortable with this. This is, to me, a very clear violation of our Fourth Amendment rights. We're told that it's just scanning license plates. I don't buy that for a second. It would be so trivial for it to be abused, and for the entirety of a frame of an image coming from the camera to be scanned. You could start scanning faces, etc. I also find it highly suspicious that it's fully subsidized by the DHS, and then we got it right after October 7th, when people knew that political dissent was going to be exploding, particularly on the campus. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else online? Next person online. Good afternoon, person online, and welcome.
Hi, my name is Sage. I live in Santa Cruz, and I would like to ask if you guys can speak to, similar to what this gentleman just said. I am confused about why you would renew this contract for flock cameras, and I would like to hear from you guys to explain that to us, because as a community, it's very clear to me that a lot of people don't want them. I haven't heard anyone in favor of them. I don't talk to as many people as you guys do. But if someone could explain to us, are you afraid that is Flock going to sue you if you don't keep this contract going or something? I would like some answers. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Well, thank you. In the event that make sure that we all understand how oral communication works. Because it is not an agendized item, remember, you can comment on any item under our jurisdiction, but not on today's agenda. So the way that works, what that means is that we are prohibited by law from responding to these comments because we have not agendized it. To the gentleladies who just called in question, let me say this and only this. In January, this measure or this subject matter will be back before the council, in which case we will all be commenting on it and taking some kind of action so everybody understands where we're at with this. Sir, thank you for your forbearance and welcome.
Hello, hello. All right. I just wanted to thank the City Council for accepting our data and being willing to do an investigation. My ask is that if you understand that there's something wrong worth investigating, please just cover the cameras meanwhile, while the investigation occurs to prevent further harm. It's also disappointing that we have to rehash this battle, as the Supreme Court has already ruled on this issue in favor of privacy back in the 2018 case, United States v. Carpenter, in which the majority opinion stated, time-stamped data provides an intimate window into a person's life, revealing not only his particular movements, but through them his familial, political, professional, religious, and sexual associations. These location records hold for many Americans the privacy of life. Thank you guys very much, and I look forward to seeing you guys in January, and hopefully in December for a meeting. I don't know.
Thank you, sir. Another person online? No one? Welcome. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Andrew Davis, City of Santa Cruz. Thank you very much for considering and bringing forward this topic and scheduling it in January. Just 2 quick points that I want to make now. This system is unnecessary. The data will be misused. First point, the system is unnecessary. Crime rates right now are at a 30-year low. Property crime right now is in California is the lowest that it's been since we began measuring and recording the data in the early 1960s. There is no real justification for actions of this kind based on public safety. So what is it based on? There are billions of dollars to be made, inflating public fear and selling local groups like yourselves on solutions that include expensive hardware and endless subscription fees. So just from a standpoint of public safety, I really object to it. You know, I understand criminal justice data. It will be misused. You are in a world right now where the federal government blatantly ignores all laws, blatantly believes that it can rewrite the Constitution or simply ignore it. And it is recklessly naive to believe that the government will be bound by administrative guidelines, policies, and procedures. To say nothing of whether we trust Flock, we don't, or we trust the Santa Cruz PD, many of us do. This data, once it exists, once it's being collected, no one can guarantee that that government that we all know is out there will not misuse it. The only way to stop that is to not collect the data, to not put the hardware in place, to say no to this. So thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you, sir. Anyone online? Good afternoon. Welcome.
Hi, and thank you for listening to us. I'm also here to speak against the flock cameras and surveillance of our community. And I echo what the previous speakers have said. What I want to add is that in this time where the federal government is a fascist government, the people of Santa Cruz are counting on you, our local government, to protect us to the extent that you can from that. And refusing to collect data and share it with the federal government is something that we absolutely need you to do for the protection of our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else online? Good afternoon.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, I'm Keith McHenry, like the library. And we'll be showing a series of films tonight at London Nelson, one of which shows how Amazon Sidewalk, Flock, and Ring have just activated on December 1st nationwide facial recognition software. So whenever you walk through your community, your identity is sent to these 4,000, maybe 5,000 law enforcement agencies. It is when Bernie talked about it, when he sold us this the first time, he described a case where somebody in another county had a flock ring, it happened over here, and so they had to capture him over here. So you can't actually separate flock from the whole 4,000 other law enforcement. It's just not possible. Flock also does not obey laws anyway at this point. And there's a Flock camera that's pointing at the library. So everybody going in and out of the library is identified to over 4,000 law enforcement agencies. So that, I think, is a huge threat to privacy, particularly around libraries, So the other thing is that this whole matrix of surveillance that's being pushed is connected to, for instance, building all these high-rise buildings, which are supposed to be like part of the smart city program. That's why there's not enough parking at most of the buildings, why you have to divert the money from Measure S and use it to build a parking garage and call it a library. So that the community here needs to see how corrupt this government is and how it's very unlikely, sadly, because I went to all the public hearings against all these buildings. They just rammed it through anyway. They don't care what the public thinks in this city. They are just a lawless bunch of people that work largely for large transnational developers and other corporations. And it's a shame that we don't have a democracy in Santa Cruz. Thank you.
Anyone else online? Good afternoon. Welcome to the council meeting.
Hi. Just one question.
You have a very soft voice.
Where
There you go.
have
Good.
all the homeless people gone? Where are all the our homeless people? I don't see any of them anywhere. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Catherine Hedges. I live in Live Oak, and I drive through Santa Cruz and Capitola pretty much on a daily basis. And as I said last month, FLOC is violating my Fourth Amendment rights. We know that the administration is planning to target immigrants, refugees, LGBTQ people, activists. We should not be collaborating with the Department of Homeland Services to collect data on our citizens and our residents in Santa Cruz and the neighboring cities who drive through Santa Cruz. So please just terminate the contract with FLOC, cover up the cameras in the meantime. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
And stop the sweeps and start the services.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Hello, Michael Spadafora. So I'm here to talk about the Seabright and the harbor businesses a little bit. One of the council members at the last meeting asked why we weren't interested in loans to help us through this time. We've all had the same opinion since before this started, that if we were to take a loan out and our business were to close, we'd still owe that money. It's a 4-year loan. 4-year loan, the payback, you close in a year or two. This project's going to go on for another 2.5 years. I think I just read in Lookout, I don't know if it's true or not, but we've always been told 700 working days. And the Lookout was quoted, the lead engineer, as 750 days. So I don't know if that added another extra 50 days to the project. I'd also like to say that the Cruz, or that the Palomar staff, I was in there the other night, were all in tears because they cut all their hours in half. We're lucky it's a drought right now. If it wasn't a drought, my sales right now are reflective of rainy days, like storm days. So if I have a storm day, my sales are even going to go farther in half. So anything you guys can really do. Driving While Awesome is doing a car event. It's going to start doing a monthly car event in the neighborhood. Santa Cruz Neighbors is doing an event on Sunday for hot chocolate. Actually, I'm providing hot chocolate. I think Local First has done some events, but the city's just, your marketing is just not really there. I mean, you guys are doing the Otter thing. If you look at their brochure, compare that to the brochure of the harbor for Harboropoly, much, much more effort's being put into it. So I'm just here to not let this flame die and try keeping these Seabright and harbor businesses open. Thank you.
Next person in line, good afternoon.
Mayor, council members, community members. There are numerous items that are not on the agenda that have to do with both homeless civil rights and civil services currently being denied the majority of homeless people in this community. Those are folks who are unhoused. One is meaningful local police accountability and review. Another is transferring funding from overarming cops to real social services, which has been brought up for years, but not implemented in meaningful ways here yet. And is not on the agenda. And also not on the agenda is restoring Coral Street male bathroom resting services slated to shut down in March. There is some talk about talking about it. That's an agenda item, but not restoring it over the winter so people who are living in tents or whose tents will be destroyed by the police, as they were earlier this week alongside Coral Street, can actually have somewhere to go. There's no winter shelter, no emergency winter shelter for the majority of those outside. There are programs for those who are in, but not for those who are outside now. Helping to restore MH to life, nothing's being done about that. Nothing's on the agenda. Funding emergency walk-in shelter, as I've mentioned before. Serious vacancy fines for keeping properties vacant for investment is something this council could have something to say about and act on. But don't hold your breath until you take action to make them do so. They will not do so of their own accord. And finally, stopping the intensifying homeless sweeps funded by City Mangler Matt Huffaker, who is the city manager, who is the highest paid official in the county, and who runs the police force in terms of, and also has a great deal to do about the disposition of funding for homeless services. He's the power, not this council. So talk to him or go to his office and speak up about it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the council meeting.
Afternoon, City Council. I come before you to discuss the issue of the flock cameras. I travel an hour and a half from a place that actually does have flock cameras. I tell you right now, it's not worth it. Don't make the decision, and you have the choice. You always have the choice. And if you choose to go ahead with this, it is a choice you will have made. We people, we all have free will. So when you make a choice, you make a choice. And when you don't make a choice, you don't make a choice. This is the most basic truth of life. So I'm urging you guys not to do this. Do not become a part of this spread, of this plague. Furthermore, speaking of plagues, the buildings. I drew this last night. Don't mess with the catalyst. Thank you.
Next person in line, good afternoon and welcome to the council meeting.
Council, Mayor, my name is Troy Mason. I hear a lot of noise and it makes me really sad because I want to be happy. I want people around me to be happy. I think everybody has a good heart somewhere inside of them, and that I think all life is sacred. I've lost my stuff numerous times here. I've lost 2 people I loved in this city. Been here 10 years. I don't hate. I was gone through periods of anger and stuff, but I just want you to know, comes a day when you got to say, you know what, enough's enough. Let's just be kind to each other. Let's look out for the ones that don't got what we have. Or let's be grateful for what we got, and let's go back to America and not all this noise. I mean, these agenda and all this, and it's like so much anger and hate, and it's like, it's so sad. I mean, I believe better for people in America, and I know we make a lot of mistakes, but we can rectify them, and Santa Cruz is a hub of international, like, mystique and conversation and gossip. So we could make a difference here, make people know that we care, that we're a society of people that, don't let people be forgotten or die alone. That's all I'm saying. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon, welcome. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Troy. I'm Greg Bankston. I'll speak on agenda items later, but I got to wake up indoors in an apartment, but to go swimming in the ocean. I love Santa Cruz. My friends do. Housed, unhoused. We've got major resources, except for the guy that yelled at me, the security guy at the parking lot at Cruzio. For some reason, didn't think I was just going to walk away to the city council meeting. Anyway, that guy's also good. Sergeant Trog, if you hear somebody calling the cops for somebody yelling back at them, screw them. But I mean that in the nicest way. This place has it. I'll talk about some agenda items. Thank you all.
Thank you, Greg. Anyone else wish to address council under oral communication? We have anyone online? We'll take the next person online. Good afternoon and welcome.
Yeah, this is Garrett. Hey, this is a real quick even. I wasn't going to speak to this, but I'm not in favor of government surveillance either. But this narrative of not cooperating with federal authorities like Homeland Security is a bad idea because, I mean, imagine if the tables were turned and you needed their help and in like a terrorist or something. I mean, how would that be if they said, no, I don't think so. We do our own thing. No, we don't care about you. Just consider that. Thanks.
Anyone else, Ms. Bush? No? Anyone else on oral communication? Please come forward. Good afternoon. Welcome.
Hi, City Council. I wanted to talk to you guys about the fact that you're going to have the point in time count coming up next month. I'll be one of those volunteers. My friends will be one of those volunteers. I hope to see some of you guys out there. What I wanted to bring up is the fact that for the last 2 years, at least, there's been sweeps every single day leading up to the point in time count, completely ruining your statistic. If you are going to tout the statistic and use it for all of the different governmental announcements and progress reports, you need to talk to your police department and not have sweeps on the main encampments all week leading up to the point in time count. Having a sweep on Coral Street really reduces the amount of people that are visible for the point in time count. For those of you who have done the point in time count, there isn't much done to hike out into the places that people hide from the laws of this organization. People have to move far out into the woods, far out into underneath passes, et cetera, and these people aren't usually counted by the point in time count because it's difficult, and because during that week, they were forced to move further out of view by the police department. SCPD sweeps year-round. Every single week, there's an encampment sweep somewhere. Every single week, there's an encampment sweep on Coral Street. Nothing is changing on Coral Street, but they're being punished every single week at least once for existing there. I wonder if you've even considered whether or not you're going to sweep the street that is connected to the day services you're thinking about. Are you going to sweep that street every single week too? Why should the people that are trying to live near services be punished every single week and ruin your point in time count statistics? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to address the council under oral communication? We are completed with oral communication. We are on presentations of proclamations. We have one regarding Bob Nelson Day. I'm going to defer to the Vice Mayor on this proclamation.
Thank you. It is my honor to present a proclamation to Mr. Bob Nelson for his decades of work here in our city. So I'm going to read the proclamation. Is Mr. Nelson? Okay. He's walking up. Okay, great. I'll wait for you to come up and then I will read the proclamation.
As you're approaching, Mr. Nelson, thank you very, very much for your years of dedicated service to the city of Santa Cruz. Madam Vice Mayor.
Okay, are you ready for it? Okay. Whereas Public Works Department Operations Manager Bob Nelson has announced his retirement effective Thursday, December 18th, 2025, and Bob Nelson has diligently navigated and implemented the ever-evolving regulations, compliance requirements, and industry standards that ensure the safety, sustainability, and efficiency of the city's refuse services. And Bob Nelson has embraced continuous improvement, innovations, and operational excellence, serving as a reliable steward of public service, supporting residents, colleagues, and the community with integrity, professionalism, and care. Bob Nelson's sense of humor, practical approach, and decades of experience have made him a respected leader and trusted mentor to many. And Bob Nelson was known for creating his own Did You Know resource materials, adding a touch of humor and comic relief to the often complex and bureaucratic processes of government. And in the face of adversity, Bob Nelson's calm presence and steady leadership never wavered, always strategizing and guiding with quiet confidence. Bob Nelson's sharp eye for detail and deep institutional knowledge contributed to the success of every project, program, and budget. Bob Nelson has been a consistent pillar of excellence, earning outstanding ratings each year and a double-step increase in his first year. And Bob Nelson's retirement plans include traveling, relaxing, and enjoying time experimenting with his new kitchen gadgets. Now, therefore, I, Shebra Kalantari Johnson, Vice Mayor with the City of Santa Cruz, do hereby proclaim Thursday, December 18th, 2025, as Bob Nelson Day in the City of Santa Cruz, and urge all citizens and his co-workers to join me in thanking him for his nearly 35 years of dedicated and exemplary service and recognizing his exceptional leadership and substantial contributions to the Public Works Department and the community. Thank you so much for your decades of work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Nelson,
Meet this guy.
the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. It's really been my privilege to serve the city of citizens of Santa Cruz. And it's really been an honor to work with the team that we put together, both resource recovery and public works. And I know I'll leave you in great hands with them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very, very much. The next item is a proclamation declaring November 30th, 2025 as Santa Cruz Roller Palladium Day. Let me think who we should have doing that. Councilmember Bruner.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to invite our Santa Cruz Roller Palladium group. Everyone can come up to the podium, please. We have Diane and Rick Etherington here with us, and I will read this. This is a very special year. Whereas on November 30th, 1950, the Santa Cruz Roller Palladium first opened its doors at 1606 Seabright Avenue in Santa Cruz, California, under the ownership of Denny and Hetty Sargent. And whereas the Santa Cruz Roller Palladium, now owned by Diane and Rick Etherington since 1986, has provided generations of families, residents, and visitors with a timeless place for family-friendly roller skating recreation, fostering community spirit, and creating countless memories for children and adults. And whereas the Santa Cruz Roller Palladium is celebrated for its vintage charm, including the original 1950s maplewood floor and classic atmosphere, offering a nostalgic experience as a unique cultural landmark in our ever-changing world. And whereas the Santa Cruz Roller Palladium has reached a significant milestone, celebrating its 75th anniversary, November 30th, 2025, remaining a cherished local roller skating rink for 3/4 of a century, and really serving as a testament to the resilience of local small businesses and their vital role in our city's cultural landscape. And whereas the City of Santa Cruz takes pride in its diverse cultural activities and institutions that contribute to the quality of life and unique character of our community. Now, therefore, I, Sonia Brunner, Council Member of District 2, on behalf of Fred Keeley, Mayor of the City of Santa Cruz, do hereby proclaim November 30th, 2025, as Santa Cruz Roller Palladium Day in the City of Santa Cruz, and I encourage all residents to recognize this roller skating rink's historic significance and celebrate its enduring cultural contribution, and join me in commemorating this remarkable 75th anniversary. Thank you.
It's such a cool thing.
Yes, I'd just like to thank the city council and Fred Keeley and of course Sonia for getting in touch. We've been in business a long time in a great neighborhood, and Denny and Hetty started it, and we have 5 generations that have worked there. So we'd like to thank everyone. Thank you.
Well, thank you. How adorable. Thank you again. Now here's the good news for you. You don't have to stay. We won't be offended. But thank you so much for your great work. Thank you. Some people, when looking at the agenda, might think that the next item is presiding officer announcements, and they would be wrong, because we are going to thank Mr. Condotti, who, after serving in the capacity as the assistant city attorney and then the city attorney since 1993, Mr. Condotti will be concluding his work as our city attorney, although not leaving the firm, but leaving as our city attorney to be succeeded by Ms. Bronson, in whom we have great confidence. But this is our moment to say thank you to Tony Condotti for decades of very, very fine legal advice and counsel to this public agency. I have had the great privilege of working in this environment in 4 different elective offices since 1988. And I want to share that Mr. Condotti's intelligence, dedication, thoughtful approach to this work, careful political advice to a public body on a wide range of compound and complex topics, litigating those matters which we believe might need to be litigated, defending those matters which we think we need defense on, but also in the drafting of ordinances, the day-to-day advice to every department, as well as to this policy-making body, cannot be referenced without saying that Mr. Condotti is a first among equals in public law, as far as I'm concerned. Having observed public agency lawyers, not only in city government, but county government, state government, special district governments, single purpose special governments, whatever they might be, I would be completely happy to put Tony Condotti's record up against any of those public agency lawyers who are very good. They are very good at their work. And Tony Condotti, with your compassionate approach, your intelligent approach, your collegial approach, we cannot thank you enough. And giving you a resolution, thanking you, which you are going to hear from us, is but a small token of our thanks and appreciation for you choosing this public agency and this as what you have done with your law degree. Thank you very much, sir. Big type version, so old people like me can read it. This is the actual presentation of a proclamation. And Mr. Condotti has drafted some of these over his years. He's drafted all kinds of things for us and done a great job to act on. A wonderful human being and a great lawyer. Thank you.
Mayor, City Council member, members of the audience, members of the community. I'm humbled and honored today. I've been truly blessed to have had the opportunity to serve the community that I live in and that Barb and I have raised our family in. Santa Cruz is such a wonderful place to live, and it's made better every day by the hard work and dedication of everyone at the city, from you as the policymaking body, the city council, to the talented group of executive professionals that serve you, and right down the line to the frontline staff that are out there cleaning the parks, fixing up the city, keeping us safe. It's truly a wonderful place to live and to raise a family. You are truly fortunate to have a talented and dedicated team of department heads and a city manager that are very intelligent and constantly dedicated to making the city a better place to live. And they are supported at every level by people who take a lot of pride in being part of this city and in contributing to make the city a better place. It's not easy for me to step away from this job that I've loved so much over the years and have truly enjoyed. I'd like to thank my wife for all of her support over the years, for juggling 2 careers as a lawyer in my office and really as the primary caregiver for our children, as I spent so many hours at evening meetings, working nights, weekends, holidays, vacations. Both of my children have gone on to become amazing, thriving adults, thanks to Barb, but also thanks to having grown up in this wonderful community. I'm also confident that the City Council made the right decision in continuing to entrust our office with the responsibility of providing legal services to this community. We've spent the past several years growing the law firm, preparing for this transition, and I'm very confident that Cassie will be a wonderful city attorney and that she is supported by a very talented and dedicated group of professionals, attorneys and staff, many of whom are in the council chambers this afternoon. And she will be successful in continuing to provide the high level of legal services that this city council and the community expects from us and deserves from us. I'm not completely stepping away from the law practice, and I will continue to make myself available to Cassie and to the city as needed going forward after I take a break for a while. Thank you again. I'm truly humbled and blessed and really appreciate the recognition or being recognized today and for all the work that I've done over the years.
Now, go sue somebody. All right, here we go. Statement of disqualifications. I've already stated my disqualification on item 34 due to a conflict. I live next door to the project. Anyone else have disqualifications? Oh, I thought, excuse me. That would have surprised me, but okay. There we go. Additions or deletions? Ms. Bush?
I have none.
Mr. City Attorney, any deletions?
No.
Okay. City Attorney report in closed session. Mr. Condati?
Yes, thank you. Mayor Keeley, members of the City Council. This afternoon, the council, or this morning, the council met in closed session at 11:30 a.m. in the Courtyard Conference Room. There were 4 items of business on the council's closed session agenda. Item 1 was a conference with legal counsel concerning liability claims. Those are the claims of Leonardo J. Morelli and Second Subboro Claims, Inc. on behalf of Geico Insurance. Those are also listed this afternoon for action on your consent calendar. Item 2 is a conference with legal counsel involving anticipated litigation specifically one item of significant exposure to litigation in which the council received a report from City Attorney's Office, but there was no reportable action on that item. Item 3 was a conference with labor negotiators concerning 2 bargaining groups, Supervisors OE3 and the Police Officers Association. Item 4 was a public employee performance evaluation / conference with labor negotiators in concerning one position, city manager. There was no reportable action.
Thank you, sir. Council meeting calendar, Ms. Bush, anything you'd like to draw to our attention?
No.
The only thing I'll draw to our attention is this is the only meeting of the City Council in December. We will then come back in the beginning of January in the new year with additional council meetings, obviously. We're on the consent agenda. For those of you who might not be familiar with it, we will be taking up items 8 through 27 on one motion. What I will do is give council members the opportunity to pull an item, comment on an item, or ask a question on an item. I will then go out to you to see if you would like to do the same. If you wish to comment on items on the consent agenda, you will be given a period of time for 2 minutes to comment on any item and all items. In other words, if you have comments on 3 items, you still get 2 minutes. If you have 1 item, it's 2 minutes. If you have 25 items, it's 2 minutes. All in 2 minutes. All right, so I am going to start on my right at Councilmember Triguero and see if you have items on the consent agenda.
No comments from me.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Councilmember Brunner.
Yes, I have comments on item 11, 13, 23, and I will start with 11.
Please proceed.
Thank you. And I actually have a question on 11. This is the day services to form a working group. I just had questions come my way. Where is the best place to stay updated on this progress for our community? If someone is available, great.
Mr. Mwali, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Thank you for the question. Through the process, as we work with the county and other community stakeholders, at this point, the best way to get in contact with the city, if you have questions or input, would be to reach out to me via email or my desk phone, 831-420-5405.
Great, thank you. That helps. I will direct folks that way. And number 13, I just wanted to thank the work of this important program. So great to fully support this. Great to see the Encompass Downtown Outreach Worker program. And 23, I wanted to comment on the resolution directing staff to submit the local coastal program amendments to the City Council related to the previously approved General Plan 2030 sensitive habitat and vegetation maps and the added beaches and bluffs hazards adaptation chapter to the California Coastal Commission. And there were several community meetings. I attended the one in my district at the Museum of Natural History, and I just wanted to call out how the feedback I got from community members that attended, how informative it was, the great job, and I want to thank Dr. Tiffany Wise-West and everybody that was there and staff. I don't know everybody's name, so please extend that and for the city manager and the public that it was well presented, the information, the maps, the giant boards, the people to answer questions, and I just think this is really important work, and thank you for making it accessible to the community and understandable, and that was it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Newsom. Madam Vice Mayor.
Yes, comments and questions on 11, 13, and 25. 11 is day services. This one, I have some comments. I'm really glad to see this item on the agenda. I see there's some folks here who maybe will speak to that. And I'm glad to see that we're working in partnership with the county, and just want to reiterate my support for inviting all jurisdictions in our county. This is beyond the city of Santa Cruz. It is a community-wide, county-wide challenge that we have to solve for together. So an invitation to all jurisdictions to join this task force to solve for it together, and to have these services throughout our community, so it's most accessible. So that's it for the day services. Item 13, the Encompass Downtown Outreach Worker Contractor Renewal. Thank you also for bringing this item forward, Mr. Mwale. I know you've taken the lead. You here still? Yeah, oh, there you are, yeah. I need to put my glasses on. Yeah. I wanted to request that, I know in the contract that the dual purpose of the program is articulated, but I wanted to request that we explicitly articulate the dual purpose of the program in all our communication, being services for those who are unhoused, as well as supporting the needs of our downtown businesses. And then I did have a question and wanted to ask if you could define piloting of the expanded hours. What does piloting mean? And just confirm that we will be trying out some version of weekend evening hours in this next 6 months of contract.
Yes, thank you for the question. For the pilot, that is the plan, really, sort of in our conversations with Encompass about looking at expanded hours, both weekday evenings and on the weekends. They expressed some operational challenges that they needed to examine, learn from, explore, given that it's outside hours, requires different supervision. So where we landed at this point is to use these next 6 months to really have their existing staff work some shifts during those hours explicitly so they can see what the evening hours are like, what the weekend hours are like. One of the concerns that they lifted up is having the availability of other community supports that they rely on during their traditional hours, 8 to 5, 8 to 6 during the weekdays. So we'll explore that in the weekend so that they can understand what, if any, new or additional operational challenges are during those hours, or if those concerns aren't necessarily valid, and they can be comfortable moving forward in the next year.
Great, thank you for confirming that. A recommendation, both Councilmember Newsom and I serve on the Downtown Management Corporation, and that would be a great touch point for the Encompass Downtown Outreach Worker Liaison comes to those meetings, so maybe they can report back on how that's going so we can stay engaged, and if there are challenges, as a group solve for those challenges, because this is something, well, I won't speak for Councilmember Newsom, but this is something we've heard from the businesses that would really, really support the existing challenges that are there. So thank you for your work on that. Those are my questions there. And then just quickly, item 25, which is, let me look at my notes. It is the notice of completion for Westcliff construction, and I just wanted to acknowledge and thank the hard work of Public Works team and Granite Construction. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember O'Hara.
Thank you. I want to acknowledge that I think our previous city attorney, John Barasoni, arrived a few minutes late.
I did see that.
I'm sure he'll watch the recording and be moved by all of our comments. I did have a couple comments. One on item 10. I'm not going to pull this item, but I have been working with the vice mayor and our incoming city attorney to add some additional contract language just around an annual review to ensure that as we bring in our new city attorney, that we are working on an annual basis for review of her and the firm's performance. Want to echo the vice mayor's comments on 11 and 13 and express my appreciation for continuing to focus our resources, attention, and values around response to homelessness and making sure that we are diligently working through data-driven exercises. It's important that we are leading with our values, but establishing a data-driven process for determining best path forward. So I want to make sure that I articulate that clearly, because sometimes that takes time, and I appreciate the time that it takes, and we're doing that as urgently as we possibly can. I want to thank my colleagues, Councilmember Triguero and Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson on working with me on item 17. This is the request for evaluation and streamlining of city advisory bodies and committees. We are currently managing a few dozen committees, commissions, outside, inside, you name it. There are a multitude that must be staffed by our city manager and our departments. It is a tremendous amount of work, and they have been built into an ecosystem of changing regulatory and political conditions. And I think it's time for us to take a beat and make sure that we are doing this as efficiently as possible. So I appreciate my council members' support on item 17. And then lastly, I want to talk, just provide a bit of comment holistically on our consent items at the end of the calendar year. We have so many items on consent. They are no less meaningful than the general business items, and it's when we have all staff here that are praying that they don't have to come up to answer questions. But it is a time for us to acknowledge the hard work that you do each and every day, the items on consent, and particularly this end of year consent, and that's because honestly, we put a lot into the end of the year, represent a considerable level of diversity of policy work that I think is remarkable. We have sustainability programs in this consent calendar. We have a water item that is truly groundbreaking as it relates to water sustainability in our community. And it might seem somewhat insignificant, but the Belts Wells projects are hugely important to our community, and I wanted to recognize that. I think also, in addition to that, we have the finalization of the Westcliff work. If you think about 3 years ago, how our community was facing such a significant level of effort and obstacles in getting that work done, here we are with our notice of completion. Thank you. Thank you for doing that work. And then, the list goes on and on. So I just wanted to share my appreciation for staff for your diligent work as we finalize not just this consent calendar, but obviously the entire agenda for today. I hope you can all take with you into the holiday season my appreciation, our appreciation, and know that the work that you do every day sustains our community and really, truly is so meaningful. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Golder.
I won't be long, but I just want to say I echo the Vice Mayor's comments. I don't have any further.
Yeah. On item 11, on what in my packet is 11.1, without objection, I would like to add a clause in item 1 at the top under recommendations, which would begin after the words city and county staff, comma, with the participation of the mayor and the 3rd District County Supervisor or their designee, comma, without objection. Without objection. On item 17, I think it is implied, but I would like to state it explicitly, that the review of these procedures and so on, the exercise to be undertaken, includes the participation of the advisory bodies. I discussed this yesterday with the city manager. He believes that is implicit in there. I would like to make it explicit. Anyone with us wish to comment on the consent agenda? This will be your opportunity to do so. Good afternoon and welcome to the council meeting.
Hi, my name is Karen Warren. I'm a 40-year resident of the city, and I'm here to speak about day services. I am a member of the Santa Cruz Friends meeting, and we've been part of the Association of Faith Communities for many years. We have a shelter, we have safe spaces, parking, and we've volunteered and attended many meetings of Housing Matters. And we know that our city and county staff and volunteers are very dedicated to addressing needs of unhoused people. We urge the city now to continue the partnerships that you've already established through Housing for Health Partnership with the county and other agencies. We think that those partnerships
Oh, and with community groups like ours in Housing Matters, we think that those partnerships are urgent now, and just the fact that we're here with such a short time frame to address this problem points to a little bit of the aspirational aspect of what our goal of being more integrated is versus what we really are. In other words, if we were much more integrated, as in the Houston-Harris County Coalition for Homelessness model, we would have had planning towards a solution to address this earlier. Many of you may have attended Beyond the Bridge, the film that was shown at the Rio Theater, and they featured Milwaukee and Houston-Harris County. Speaking of data-driven, those counties and those areas have a much higher rate of placing and keeping people in homes. So I recommend that we look to those models. And for now, we want to say that I know you share our values to ensure that unhoused people have the dignity of having a place to shower, restrooms, and mailrooms are so important, not only in the city of Santa Cruz, but throughout our county. Thank you.
Next person in line, Greg, good afternoon again.
Item 11, I was at the board meeting for Housing Matters, and they take it very seriously. They're an organization, they have their objectives. You know, as a wider community, we have to have our, you know, all-encompassing data-driven solutions. There's people that I've just been talking to today that are out on the street or have just moved into housing and coming up with good ideas about what they need. So let's make sure that they're included if at all possible, Mr. Imwali. The pizza party wasn't a bad thing a couple of years ago. But anyway, there's a lot of challenges. There's short-term, interim solutions because stuff is coming up on us pretty fast. And we need to have some short-term solutions and then broader thinking, long-term solutions. And I'll drop an email to Larry and to anybody else. Let's just put our heads together and get these things rolling. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next person in line, good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, I'm Athena. I'm going to talk on 11 about day services. I wanted to say thank you, Sonia Bruner. You said, like, we need to spread this out throughout the county, and it's awesome that you guys are working with the county. I think that's so right on. We actually really have an opportunity here. When services over the last, 4 months, it's only been Housing Matters. MHCAN shut down, and the Felton Mountain Service Center closed all day services, and it's been so brutal to have day services entirely in one spot. And then for that to be taken away and the community to get that information so haphazardly, it's been a really scary few months. Along with the work that you guys are doing, I think it would be useful to continue to be putting out information to the public because there is so much fear and misinformation that is happening right now around this. And then the few things that I wanted to just really bring up for your staffing is that charging is really, really needed and wasn't on the list for 11 was charging. And the other thing that Housing Matters was offering that will now be literally nowhere is water spigots of clean water. All of the fountains, water drinking fountains of all of downtown have been completely dry for a whole year now. And that is a hazard for all people, not just homeless people. We need water. And as the oncoming crises are getting worse and closer, we really need water. And that's like the bare minimum. Thank you very much. And I hope to be able to continue to reach out through Larry and maybe to your staffers. I think as many people in that room making that conversation is going to make that conversation richer and that decision more useful. And please develop a process to not sweep the area around your day service center. It's destructive and it makes it so people can't grow.
Thank you. Next person, line. Marilyn, good afternoon. Always good to see you.
Marilyn Patton. I've lived here over 50 years, and I agree with Karen, who's at the Quaker meeting with me, and with the previous speakers, that we really need to start thinking. I think of it religiously, but I also just think about it in my personal life, about what would Jesus do and what should we do. We at the Friends meeting, we have had personal experience. We have one person who's a child from the meeting who's addicted and is a part of the homeless community, and we have other personal experiences with it, and we are doing what we can all the time. I was personally helping a whole homeless family. Karen has helped individuals. We do it individually, but we try to do it as a corporation too, and we need to set up an interim system so that we can provide mail and other services for the homeless, as people have been saying here. And we know these people personally. They need food, counseling, and a place to stay at night. And I think what we all want to say is that there, but for the grace of God, go we. This could have happened to us in some circumstances, and it should not be happening to any of the people who are out on the street. And we hope that you will take your prestige and goodwill in the county and help to get some sort of interim services established so that people can get their mail, get some food, get a house, get some clean water. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Patton. Good afternoon.
The services for unhoused people in this town are abysmal already, and these regular sweeps of Coral Street and around Costco and everything are costing people all their property over and over and over again. And so sometimes we provide like $800 worth of tents and sleeping bags to these people, and then 2 days later, the city has thrown them all away in cooperation with Housing Matters. And this is not helping anybody. And it needs, this tax needs to start. So not only should there be more, none of these services should be cut, but also we should try to figure out what's going on with the millions of dollars that comes to the city to help the homeless, because I hear this from homeless people all the time. Oh, it was just in the Sentinel, another $2 million for Housing Matters, another $2 million here, another $2, and we never see the money, but it doesn't help the homeless. So one of the things I'm encouraging a journalist named James Lee, who has been uncovering fraud in the homeless industrial complex in LA and San Diego, to start investigating what's going on here, because clearly the same kind of corruption that is happening in those homeless service communities and those and fortunately, some of them are now being indicted. Not that I'm any fan of the Trump administration, but these people should have been indicted a long time ago, because we have watched literally millions and millions of dollars flow through the city of Santa Cruz and seen virtually nothing helping the homeless. It's completely outrageous what's going on in this city. The trying to get food to people every day has become insane, because you show up to where you saw a lot of homeless people the day before and they're gone. And so there are people that are good-natured people who want to help the homeless in this city are scurrying, and you might have heard Helga earlier, we show up to give them food and they don't exist anymore, and it's really cruel what is happening and how the city's policies have been so vicious. In fact, a lot of the city councilors here are here because of the viciousness of this city and the fact that there was some corruption, and they threw out Drew Glover and Chris Crone.
Thank you.
So that's outrageous.
Thank you. And next person in line. Good afternoon.
Yes. On the consent agenda for the November 18th meeting, the minutes, nowhere in the minutes that I noticed does it mention that the current police chief, Bernie Escalantes, came here and spoke. That certainly was an impromptu flock meeting. I'm almost appalled at how uninformed the people that speak here are. It's almost as appalling as the biggest criminal class on the planet, where I'd love to be able to support, and that's lawyers. Love to have public debate about what I've witnessed here the past 6.5 years. It's truly disgusting. So yeah, I took a picture. Bernie is actually speaking. It's on the video, but is it in the minutes? Not that I read. You know, what's really going on here? You know, the folks were elected. What kind of confidentiality agreements did you guys sign to be under the control of a charter city or county with the internationally Rockefeller, Stanford, Carnegie puppet, Mr. Huffinger, controlling you guys?
Excuse me. Try that again. Go ahead. Let's just try this again.
Just said what I said.
Just go ahead and try it again. I'm sure you didn't mean to disparage the way you did, so go ahead and try it again.
Oh, sure. You know, the only areas in our Constitution that talk about democracy is how dangerous it is. It's mob rule. So you folks are being controlled by the city manager, who is a Rockefeller, Stanford, Carnegie puppet. And I mentioned Mr.
No,
Huffinger.
you're not going to do it twice that way. Okay,
Well,
next person in line. Next person in line.
Fine.
Move. Next person in line. Let's go. Either you want to comment or you don't want to comment. Okay, you don't want to comment. That's the end of that. Person online, we're going to go with the next person online. Person online, you got 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Next person online in the council chambers. Seeing and hearing none, the matter is back before the body.
Sorry, Mayor, I have 3 more people on.
Next person online. You got 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Next person online. 3 seconds. 1.
Hello? Hello?
Make
Hello?
your presentation.
Hi, my name is Catherine Hedges. I'm a third. I just want to say that I'm really, really concerned about the cutoff of services to unhoused people and the continual sweeps. This is not humane. We need to do better by people. These are people. We shouldn't be treating them like they're garbage or vermin or something. Thank you very much.
Next person online.
Okay.
3.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Rick Longinati. I don't know if I'm speaking in the right place. This would be item 19 on the consent agenda about the infrastructure financing district. Is this the right time?
Make your
for that?
comments.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Make your comments.
Okay. So the infrastructure financing district sounds like a very creative idea. I'm really pleased that it could be used to support affordable housing, and this will be a second funding source along with Measure C. So the city's doing really well as far as generating revenue for affordable housing. My concern would be that the infrastructure financing district not use funds for the construction of the Warriors Arena. The Warriors, you know, certainly have plenty of money, and the city of Santa Cruz doesn't need to subsidize the Warriors. And I believe that the mayor has promised there'd be no city funding for the Warriors Arena, but that's not what the agenda packet reflects, which includes sports and entertainment facilities as potentially supported by the infrastructure financing district. So I'd love to have some clarity on that. Thank you.
Matter is back before the body. Pleasure of the body.
I have 2 more people online. Did you want to hear them or?
We're finished with that. Let's go.
I'll move the consent with a slight modification to item 10, which I can present, or I can wait for a second. Bonnie, if you wouldn't mind bringing up the additional clause for item 10, the contract or agreement between the city and the ABC law firm.
Excuse me. Hold on just a second. Councilmember, I'm sorry. Councilmember Golder. Are we okay? Okay, we're on the consent agenda. There's a motion to approve with some modifications.
With a modification to item 10 of adding number 15 clause, annual performance review. The law firm acknowledges that the city, I'll get that one, will endeavor to conduct an annual performance review of contracted services as part of its broader management practices. The law firm agrees to participate in this review process. The results of the city's annual review performance may be considered by the city in its discretion when determining whether to renew this agreement. And then also I want to add to the motion the language that the mayor added for item 11, which was the clause of adding the 3rd District Supervisor Cummings and the mayor in addition to the working group of city staff.
Without objection, that'll be included. Councilmember Golder? Thank you. Very good. Anyone else adding on to this in terms of any amendments to the motion? Any further debate or discussion? Councilmember Brunner?
I just have was hoping on number 19, if someone could just clarify the EIFD funds, that it's used for public infrastructure, and the question if it's used for the Warriors arena.
Ms. Lipscomb, good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the council. The EIFD, the infrastructure plan that's before you today, which has been presented several times to the Public Financing Authority, which is the body that will ultimately approve and enact and oversee the district, is all-encompassing intentionally. It does not mean that everything that's included in the plan will be financed. It's intentionally similar to an implementation plan for a redevelopment agency, which is also a tax increment body and regulatory body. It is intentionally comprehensive so that the process, which, as there are many, many steps to amending a plan, that all of the potential eligible items typically are included in a plan. And then each year you go forward as, tax increment accrues, and over time you develop a plan, for the 5-year plan. We probably won't be bonding until 5 to 10 years out. So there'll be ample opportunities for public engagement. Any commitment of funding will come before the Public Financing Authority, which includes 3 members of the City Council.
Councilmember?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Councilmembers Figueroa?
Aye.
Brunner?
Aye.
Newsom?
Aye.
Golder? Aye. O'Hara?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson?
Aye.
Mayor Keeley?
Aye. The Vice Mayor is in charge on the next item, as I have a conflict on item 34. I live next door. Okay.
Just because James is an asshole, you shouldn't cut off the people that were online. That was so rude of you. People that are disabled call in. That was so rude. Don't cut off the people online.
Thank you. We're moving on to consent public hearing. And these are items 28 to 34. So I'm going to see first if our council members have comments, questions, or have any need to pull any item, and then I'll go to public comment. Any from Councilmember Triguero, Councilmember Brunner, Newsom, Golder, O'Hara. All right. Go out for comments on items 28 to 34. Anyone in the public who wishes to comment on items 28 to 34? Anyone online? Okay. We'll take the first person online. And this is to comment in one comment on any of those items. You have 2 minutes for all those items. Do we have someone online? Person online?
Yes, hello, this is Garrett. Hey, before I speak, I have a point of order, and I do believe the mayor is out of line, not allowing people to speak to the consent agenda. I was one of them. I also believe that he's way out of line, limiting the speaking to 2 minutes, because the council policy manual, which was voted on by the entire council, assigns 3 minutes to speak to all items except oral communications. And I think he is in violation of the Brown Act, and I don't know where he's getting off doing this. I don't think he has the authority to do so. And so I was sort of counting on speaking for 3 minutes. And is that going to happen?
You have 2 minutes to complete your comments.
And why do you think that is?
We're going to move on to the next person if you don't want to. I'm not going to go back and forth.
I'll speak to it for 2 minutes, but you're clear.
How much time do we have? How much time is left?
I hadn't started it because he was doing a point of order.
Okay, we're going to start your 2 minutes now.
Okay, I guess I'm unmuting again. As regards the item 34 Teffer hearing, it's a no. The view is basically on principle that the free market is always better at assigning risk than the government, and this action both somewhat disguises that risk and thwarts the free market solutions as they become any competitive without such subsidy. Well, I'm kind of reading the wrong one. I'm speaking really with both 33 and 34, but both of these developers, Zen Development and also For the Future, they gave a bunch of money to Measure C, and I believe that this is the payback for their support for Measure C. It's a little shaky on the Zen Development, but I believe they did give some money, not as much as the $35,000 that For the Future gave. Anyway, going back to government meddling, while I do appreciate the need for welfare for the truly needy, welfare being both tricky and the responsibility of the federal government and not cities, pushing too hard to develop welfare subsidies can theoretically produce too much of that kind of housing. Too much being defined as incentive for more and more poor people to move here, more homeless people to move here, more illegal aliens to move here. Also finding the welcome mat laid out in amounts far greater than surrounding communities and county. I'd also note that some of these units are 220 square feet. They are shrinkflated housing. They are not going to be worth whatever 30% of median income is, and they could be you don't have to give them this extra subsidy. I mean, their projects will not pay property taxes. I'm sure they have other subsidies. For instance, the illegal subsidy of granting the public trust fund money as a loan, which should have required an Article 34 vote. It's an illegal act on your part.
Thank you. Next person online. Person online? Are there others? Okay, we'll move on to the next person online. All right, we'll move on to the person after.
Person is the only one with his hand.
Oh, and they couldn't, okay. Just give it a few more seconds. All right, I think we'll complete public comment. We'll bring it back to the council for a motion. Councilmember Golder.
I'd like to move items 28 through 34.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second?
Okay, Councilmember O'Hara seconds. We'll take a roll call vote.
Councilmember Triguero.
Aye.
Brunner.
Aye.
Newsom.
Aye.
Golder.
Aye.
O'Hara. Aye. Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson.
Aye.
And Mayor Keeley is disqualified.
Thank you. Mayor, hand it back to you for item 35.
Good work. Thanks, my friend. All righty. We are on item 35. This is a no parking street sweeping program. We have a staff presentation and we have materials in our packet. And I welcome the staff to the meeting. Good afternoon and welcome. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. My name is Eric Dockney. I'm with the Public Works Department, and I'm joined by Tim Mayer, Planning. Today's presentation will summarize findings from the city's no parking street sweeping program, and we'll also have staff recommendations. The pilot program was broken up into 3 areas, which consisted of 6 different zones, as you can see on the right side of the screen. The zones were originally selected based on trash levels and the commercial aspect of the areas. findings showed that majority of these areas had moderate levels of trash based on the state's trash mandate and the state water board's guidance. So that's why these areas were primarily selected. The picture on the right is the signs that were installed as part of this program. That sign shows a particular zone that is swept weekly on Wednesday, and each of the other 6 zones have particular days they're swept weekly. As part of the pilot program, staff conducted extensive outreach efforts as summarized in this slide. We did a number of different outreach elements, including press releases, mailers, open house events, and actual on-site posters and noticing in the areas where the signs were going to be installed. This slide summarizes the media coverage the program received throughout sort of initial discussions, initial meetings, and during the start of the program. So we got successful results. These are some of our main findings from this pilot. We conducted visual trash assessments monthly throughout the pilot and found that the moderate trash level areas had reduced to low in a majority of the areas, with one exception being Coral Street in zones 1 and 2. We also tracked, our street sweeper operators tracked the total collected debris, and we collected approximately 92 cubic yards of trash and sediment between the months of March and October. We also tracked parking enforcement. Parking services issued warnings as the first enforcement level, and then we issued citations after the warnings. During the pilot program, we did not tow any vehicles. Towing is a last resort and would be examined on a case-by-case basis before towing. Based on the pilot findings, these are the recommendations that staff proposed to the mayor and council members.
Just wanted to make a quick note also that since the time of the November 20th Planning Commission public hearing, staff have had the opportunity to consult with California Coastal Commission staff who advised staff that Coastal Commission staff would be supportive of an expansion of the hours and locations of no parking prohibitions. So the resolution language has been updated to reflect that. And just wanted to note also just really briefly that the title of one of the resolutions was modified slightly to reflect the language in the recommendation. So just wanted to read that for the record.
Thank you for the staff presentation. Let me ask council members if there are questions and comments before we go out to the public. Councilmember Golder is recognized.
I just have a brief comment. I've noticed a huge improvement on the areas where this has been implemented as a pilot. I know the vice mayor's out there sometimes before dark too. We've seen the street sweepers coming along, and the amount of trash that's been collected has been astounding. Really thank the staff for bringing this forward. I'd love to, I know it's been kind of a growing pains for the neighbors, and so I hope that we can work through those as we go to permanency or perhaps expand. I've heard people say they'd love to see this maybe even expanded on West Cliff Drive and other places with sensitive habitat where we see a large amount of trash. So thank you.
Further questions, comments by council members? Let me ask if there's anyone with us who wishes to comment on this item. Is there anyone online? Matters back before the body, pleasure of the body.
I'll move the staff recommendation.
Councilmember Golder moves. Councilmember, the Vice Mayor seconds to approve the staff recommendation under debate and discussion. Quick question to you. Would I be right in thinking that as time moves on here, the State Water Quality Control Board and then the regional water quality control boards are going to be looking at expansions of these programs in coastal communities. Would I be right in thinking that?
I think you'd be right. The state has mandated a trash mandate, and that the deadline for that is 2030. So, and they've told cities to select tracks to comply with this, and this is one of the accepted methods to comply with that 2030 deadline.
Thank you very much. For the debate or discussion, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmembers Triguero,
Aye.
Brunner,
Aye.
Newsom,
Aye.
Boulder, O'Hara, Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson,
Aye.
Mayor Keeley.
Aye. Thank you very much for your presentation. Fine
Thank
work.
you.
Fine work. Motion passes and so ordered. And get those syllables out correctly. We are on item 36. This is a tree appeal at 401 Ingalls Street. There is a staff presentation. We have a number of items in our agenda packet. Let me go through how we will proceed on this item. We'll receive a staff presentation. That will be followed. Okay. Excuse me. Hold on just a second.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Mayor. I just noticed that the appellant is not here, so I don't know if that matters. Okay.
Okay, so let's hold. Is there anybody who can advise me about the absence of the appellant? Do we know anything about this? Do we have any reason to believe that the person knows this is happening? I imagine they do. Mr. City Attorney.
I'm pretty certain that the appellant is aware of it because materials were submitted in support of the appeal hearing for this item.
I think what I'll do, without objection, is let's take a break until 3:15, and will the staff try to reach the appellant so that we've exhausted our, every effort to reach out to the person? We stand adjourned until 3:15. Santa Cruz City Council is back in session following a brief recess this afternoon. We are on item 35. That was when we took a recess, and the reason we did is because this is, item 36. This is a tree appeal, and the person who is the appellant is not here. And that appellant, I am confident, knowing the appellant, that she is aware of this meeting, aware, generally speaking, of the time. The reason we took the recess is to see if our staff could both send an email as well as make a telephone call to the appellant to determine whether she is going to be here or not. It is my understanding that we have not been able to reach that person either through email or phone. We are going to proceed apace on item 35. Let me tell you how we proceed. There will be a staff presentation first. There will be questions from the council. The appellant will have up to 20 minutes to present. The applicant, who is present in council chambers, will have up to 20 minutes to present. There will then be public comment. The appellant will then have 5 minutes to rebut the issues raised by the applicant and members of the public, but no new issues may be raised. Public hearing will be closed. Matter will be back before the body. We will make a decision on how to proceed. So let me begin with Ms. Keaty. Ms. Keaty, good afternoon. Welcome to the City Council meeting. Let's receive your staff presentation.
Good afternoon, City Council. Leslie Keaty, Urban Forester. So this is the recommendation, resolution to deny the appeal and uphold the Parks and Recreation Commission approval of Heritage Tree Removal Permit Application TR 250087 submitted by property owner James Allen to remove 2 coast redwood trees located at 401 Ingalls. A bit of background: on the 24th of July of this year, 2025, property owner James Allen submitted an application requesting removal of 2 heritage-sized coast redwoods located in the front yard of 401 Ingalls. The reason stated on his request for removal in summary was the 2 large redwood trees are destroying utilities and sidewalk. So I took a cursory look at the application when it came in, appreciating the trees have significance to the community as a resource, and also to support his removal request. I explained to the applicant that the city would recommend that he hire a private arborist to prepare a second opinion in addition to mine, that the owner should obtain a statement from a registered professional engineer on any damage potential to the structural integrity of his building foundation, and have the area USA Underground Service Alert, which is all the marks for AT&T, sewer, water, and PG&E Underground Electric, to have those marked on site so I could clearly see where the utilities in question were. And, excuse me, I got a little derailed from her not being here. And then also that he has a licensed plumber to camera the existing sewer lateral to confirm any root blockage, pipe blockage, ponding of effluent, and then also, for the benefit of the commission and the council, to do a cost analysis of what it might cost to reroute water and sewer lines away from the trees versus what the expense would be for tree removal, stump grinding, and repair of his existing water and sewer. And then once all of that information was compiled, he could resubmit that, and I would further evaluate the evidence to see if it fit the findings for removal per our city council resolution. And then based on my review, I defended that the utilities were likely damaged by the trees. And so the director made findings required by council resolution NS 23710 and granted the request for the permit to be issued. On July 24th, the refundable planning bond was submitted for him to replace 2 trees of an appropriate species in the frontage of the area. And then we posted the application for removal. On August 4th, Jillian Greenside appealed the staff decision, stating that the criteria was not met and that the claim that trees were destroying utility and sidewalk were unsubstantiated, and that since rerouting was a technically possible effort, that effort should be made to reroute and save the trees. We had a public hearing with the Parks and Recreation Commission to consider the appeal on October 13th, and the commission voted in favor of staff with a 4-1 vote with 2 commissioners absent to uphold the staff recommendation issuing the removal permit. On October 23rd of 2025, Jillian Greenside appealed to the Parks and Recreation Commission decision to City Council, and that's where we stand today. So the next would be the discussion of the presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Keene.
Is my clicker having clicker issues, or is it me? I'm technically challenged.
We'll get there.
I had to hit it harder. Okay, I'm just such a gentle person. Okay, and then, so Chapter 9.56 of the Municipal Code gives us, as staff, 3 criteria to follow to issue removal permits. The heritage tree has or is likely to have an adverse effect upon the structural integrity of a building, utility, or a public or private right-of-way. Physical condition of trees such as health or disease or infestation warrants removal, or that a construction project design cannot be altered to accommodate the existing heritage trees. So I'm bound to that resolution. Oh, I'm hitting wrong arrows. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'll get this. Okay. So in this specific circumstance, with the overview for 401 Ingalls, is that the heritage tree has or is likely to have an adverse effect upon the structural integrity of utilities primarily, although there are some findings of the right-of-way being minorly lifted and a likelihood of potential building foundation issues, although none of that justified the permit. I thought it helpful to just give a little tree biology, just for context. And typically, redwoods have a flat leaf. They drink from the fog. They collect that moisture, wick it down from the leaf surface into the root zone, and that's part of where they get their summer watering in the absence of summer rains. And then, of course, they get a lot of rain in the wintertime. So typically, your root system on a coast redwood would extend about 3 times out the canopy distance and to a depth of 3 to 4 feet, usually, especially depending on what type of soils you have. If you have a sandy soil where there's more oxygen present at depth, then you would have more root development at a lower depth. But typically, they have a large root collar with large buttress roots and then roots at depth. So for this application, one private certified arborist looked at the tree and recommended removal. The staff arborist, myself, inspected the location, and we as 2 arborists agreed that damage to utilities that exists is likely due to the trees in the root system, and concluding that the utilities are likely adversely impacted by the tree and the tree root system. One plumber has inspected the utilities, including the water line and sewer lateral, confirming utility damage to both. Camera images of the sewer lateral confirms ponding water in the line due to a pipe uplift somewhere near the trees. Root excavation has been performed on site, revealing roots present at depth of the water and sewer lines in the joint trench. The sewer pipe has incorrect and reverse fall, which is back pitched in slope near the root zone and collar of the trees. An engineer has offered an opinion on a likelihood of slab foundation damage. There's no currently any evidence of that at this point. Oh, dear. Let me delay my presentation.
Please proceed.
Please proceed, okay. Continued overview 401 Ingalls Street. A cost analysis has been prepared by the applicant with estimates confirming in-kind repair of water and sewer systems are estimated at $10,000, $10,200, including tree removal, stump grinding, water and sewer repairs. Complex rerouting, which would move the water and sewer line and repair the water and sewer systems away from the tree, is estimated at $74,000 and would include opening and repairing the sidewalk and street, public works permits for encroachment, traffic control, water department permits, planning building permits, excavation in the root zone, potholing, trenching, soil compaction around the new pipe installation, and possibly engineered fill, depending on the integrity of the soils. Other utilities may also require relocation, and any work within the drip line of the tree would be overseen by a private arborist. Sewer rerouting repair from the Public Works Department. So I asked the Public Works Department what exactly that would require to move the sewer out from under the trees. And they said that it would confirm that the new service location meets applicable design standards and codes for separation from other utilities, water and storm drains. The water and sewer can't be too close to each other. And that this installation does not conflict with any other existing utilities on the site, water, storm, drains, communication lines. They would have to cap and abandon the existing lateral in place, install a new lateral in compliance with city standard details and specifications, including but not limited to sewer laterals, trenches, and pavement restoration. Any work in the public right-of-way must be completed with a permit issued by the Public Works Engineering Department and be performed by an appropriately licensed contractor, and then a traffic control plan for encroachment and encroachment permit would be required. Spoke to the water department about if we relocated, if the water service needed to be relocated, what that would entail. Water department staff said that a permit from the water department is required and would be issued for a fee of $1,200, which includes inspections, making a new service connection at the main in the street along the property frontage, installing a new meter box in the sidewalk, abandoning existing service connection to the street, removing an old meter box in the sidewalk, restoring the street curb and gutter and sidewalk. Property side plumbing is on the property owner. The city responsibility ends at the backside of the meter, and that construction would have to be performed by a licensed and insured contractor at the applicant's expense and would likely be on the order of tens of thousands of dollars. That's what was quoted by city water staff. So I reviewed the findings on our city council resolution. These are the three findings, and the council resolution does not mandate that I as staff can force a relocation of utilities. I'm bound to making findings on these three criteria. Staff findings on the canopy: the redwoods are vigorous and healthy. They have a poor crown foliage ratio on the north side from ongoing utility pruning that contributes to limb failure. When trees load wind, they dissipate that wind energy through lower branches, and in the absence of having continuous lower branches, then the predisposition for shedding larger branches in the upper canopy, because the wind loading has been modified by the elimination of lower branches. So ongoing utility pruning to accommodate the high voltage wires in this case may contribute to ongoing limb failure. There were minor failed branches and moderate diameter previous limb failures evident on the ground and in the canopy, and then medium diameter branch overhangs over the high voltage PG&E facilities, and then minor encroachment of branches over his building structure. Continued canopy findings: medium diameter branches growing over the high voltage PG&E facilities. There were evident splices visible in the high voltage wires from previous branch failures onto the PG&E guy wire and high voltage wires. So in the picture, you'll see those splices. They're metal that connects all the wires together. So in essence, they only do splices when there's damage to the wires. And failure of branches is a potential public safety concern for pedestrians, street, and a potential fire concern if branches cause any arcing or sparks. Staff finding: trunks and root zone. The two trees are growing within 1 to 2 feet of the public sidewalk, and the sidewalk is lifted by 1.5 to 2 inches. This on its own would never constitute a removal permit. We would just replace, root, prune, and repair. Continued findings on trunk and root zone. The western tree is close to the water meter. Western tree is growing on top of the water lateral. The water department reports a continuous usage from a water leak on site. Tree roots are present in the meter box on the sidewalk. So your image shows root development in the actual meter box, and then the proximity of the water meter box to the buttress roots. Western tree is close to the property line and neighbor's gas line. So the yellow marks from the USA Underground Service Alert show the gas line, those dashes and flags. Western tree is relatively close to the neighbor's water service, which is the other meter that's shown. There's 2 meters in the sidewalk there, and then an associated backflow device, and that serves the adjacent unit's water. Western tree is cracking the neighbor's gutter, which is the curb and gutter for the sidewalk. But again, that really doesn't constitute removal. And there's a minor lift of the sidewalk from the owner's trees on the adjacent property. Continued findings: 2 trees are growing on the property owner's sewer lateral and water line, immediately on top of that, on the backside of the tree. Water and sewer are together in a portion of the trench, then they diverge. The owner's sewer lateral runs between and under both trees, coming from the sidewalk, and then It's very close to the backside of one of the main buttress roots for the tree. The owner sewer lateral has reverse fall, back pitch slope, and is ponding water at the building. Plumber camera imagery shows ponding water at the structure. So in your photograph, you see that some sewer repair has been done because the sidewalk is a different color. It's newer concrete than the adjoining sidewalk. The green dot is a USA Underground Service Alert dot indicating sewer right at the clean out. Or the sewer cap, sorry. Am I going, oh, I'm good. Blowing it. Blowing it. Okay, sorry. Too many clickers. Okay, back to this. So again, you've got the sewer cap in the sidewalk, the green dot, back of sidewalk. Showing the green arrow of the sewer and then the 2 water meters, and then the root examination trench to expose the pipe shows the joint trench with the water and sewer pipe stacked with roots in the trench, although we didn't find any very large roots that actually had lifted the pipe, but there is roots present in the trench. This is the angle of the lateral going from the sewer cap in the sidewalk, and then it goes in between the 2 trees. Blue arrow represents the water meter. You can see on the right slide the sewer line coming in between the 2 trees and then turning at a junction and then heading to the clean out at the building. So these arrows and the green painted on the ground show the sewer orientation in between the 2 trees, and then it going to the clean out at the building. When the root exam trench was open, we put a level on it and confirmed that there's back pitch or the angle of the pipe is not draining towards the sewer main in the street. It's draining back towards the building. And the plumber hired by James Allen took this video image.
Okay, looking good. Looking good. Looking good. Looking good. No warping. The pipe seems fairly circular. Okay, we've got some, nothing quite going on yet. Joint connections look good. What do you think? Standing water here at 23 feet. Probably a root growing below, pushing up on it, completely submerged. So that's a lot of water in the pipe, you know what I mean?
That's good to know, okay. Yeah, that's the kind of thing you want to get fixed.
Yeah, 100%. 1000%.
Interesting, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's...
See if I'm past the old clean out.
Thank you. So when we dug our root examination trench, we came within about 2 or so feet of where the bend in the pipe is on the sewer lateral that goes from the building in between the 2 trees and out towards the street. And I wanted to just dig to where that bend in the pipe was to see if we found a root right at that bend, which was depicted on his sewer camera. But I also am writing a fine line about doing too much excavation and damaging a tree during the pendency of an appeal. So at that point in time, we didn't find a root. We did find some roots in the trench, although they weren't of any diameter that could cause any lifting of the pipe. However, the conjecture from the plumber and myself, obviously, would be that the bend in the pipe is very close to the tree, within a couple feet. It's quite likely, meeting the findings by resolution, that the tree is the reason for that pipe uplift. In 1982, the new pipe was installed. I spoke to the building inspector, and they do not sign off pipes with back pitch or inappropriate fall. They have to make sure that any effluent generated in the building falls and successfully makes it into the main. So that was some evidence, hopefully, that the sewer was installed properly, and that this issue of the lifting causing that reverse pitch and ponding is likely a tree matter. Staff conclusions: trunk and root zone, 2 redwood trees are likely the cause of the sewer damage, uplift, and the water leak. He has a relatively narrow landscape frontage area. There are numerous utilities, including gas, water, communications, underground electric, site drainage, and sewer. All the marks that you see on the frontage are all of those utilities from the USA Service Underground Alert. Relocating the sewer and water could require additional utilities to be located, depending on where and if that were to occur. By resolution, staff cannot mandate a costly relocation. Per resolution, I am bound to the findings of damage. And then the owner's estimates that he obtained would be that relocation could be an estimated $74,700 versus $10,200 to repair in kind. Staff recommendation: motion to deny the appeal and uphold the Parks and Recreation staff and commission decision to approve heritage tree removal permit TR 250087 to remove 2 coast redwood at 401 Ingalls. Thank you.
Ms. Keaty, thank you very much. I see the appellant is present, so that everyone understands how we will proceed. We've just completed the staff report. We're going to go to questions from the council. The appellant then will have up to 20 minutes to present their appeal. The applicant will have 20 minutes. There will be then public comment. Then the appellant will have 5 minutes to rebut issues raised by the applicant and members of the public, but no new issues can be raised. I know you are familiar with that. I want to make sure everyone else is familiar with that. Then the public hearing will be closed. The matter will be back before the body, and we will take such action as we choose to make. So at this point, we are at the council ask questions component. Let me see if there are initial questions from council members at this point. Okay, very good. Ms. Greenside, welcome. Good afternoon. We'll hear your appeal.
Before the clock starts, yes, could I possibly just test the clicker? That's not my forte, and I just want to make sure.
Is that? I'm sorry.
Before the clock starts,
yeah,
could I just check the clicker so that I know that the slides work?
Let's do that.
It's not my forte.
It will not be. It will be not.
I get nervous
not distracted from your
Thank
time.
you.
So let's make sure we got that working.
Thank you.
You got that?
There's 1. So if I press that, there's 2. Thank you very much, and I appreciate staff
will now start.
helping on that. Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council, Julian Greenside, for Save Our Big Trees. I'd like to start by just asking, what is a heritage tree? I don't mean the legal definition in our heritage tree ordinance. I mean, what does it mean when we say a tree is heritage? If you look up that definition, heritage means passed down from previous generations, worthy of preservation, inherited from the past. And that means that in these trees' case, 40 years ago, somebody planted trees. We have trees in our town probably planted 60, 80 years ago, maybe even 100, 120 years ago. and we inherit that heritage. We today can walk out and see mature, beautiful trees because others planted them and they've been cared for since then, which is why cutting down a tree and planting a sapling, it's not the equivalent. I would say that a sapling planted, if you vote to take them down, it'll be 40 years. Most of us will be dead. Some may just be old, where they will be of a stature that we call heritage. So we have some responsibility. In fact, we have a law that says we are to care for and preserve our heritage trees to pass on to the future, not just for our own particular enjoyment in our spot in time. Hence this entry in the City of Santa Cruz Heritage Tree Ordinance that says to encourage and assure the continuation of quality community development whereby existing trees and shrubs are incorporated into any development and accorded proper maintenance and protection as part of the city's urban forest. Some people don't like that. Some people buy a property in Santa Cruz, it's got some heritage trees on it, they want to take them down. But they butt up against our heritage tree ordinance, which is our law, which is a statement of the values of our community, that we want to preserve them unless there is no other options. My appeal was filed because I do not think that there is evidence. I think there's a lot of assumptions and generalizations about claiming that these trees are damaging the sidewalk. Actually, it says destroying sidewalk and utilities. On that basis, and the basis that there is a bias in the staff report, I decided to file the appeal. The first, if you like, inaccurate statement is in the agenda report. It claims, I wonder if we can get rid of that little picture up top, it covers some of the text, but if not, that's all right. Thank you very much. The agenda reports claims that all of those bullet points were in place before a decision was made to remove these trees. That is inaccurate. The ones in red, and I coloured them, were not available in July when that decision was made by staff to grant a tree removal permit. The only things that were available was the two ones in black. And when I looked at the file to determine whether it was worth filing a tree appeal, that's all that was there. Henry Bosinger's arborist report and just a statement that it would cost this a lot of money to reroute the water and sewer. The others, you've got the dates there, and that's all in the file. The professional engineer, the licensed plumber, the camera image we just saw, that was not available until after the removal permit was granted and after I filed an appeal. I brought all that up at the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting, but it's still here again in the agenda report, and that is inaccurate. Way back in May, before even a removal permit was granted, there is email exchange between the property manager, because I gather the new owner of the property wants to have a redesign, do some building. So there's a property manager and there's an architect. And this is the email between the property manager and the arborist. Please continue to explore rerouting of both sewer and water to determine the feasibility. As if it goes to appeal, all of this information will be necessary to explain and be requested. Last Redwood Tree Appeal took professional letters, an engineer, and 3 arborists to get through 2 city council meetings. I need a very defensible file. Thanks for helping me help you get through the scrutinized tree removal process. I think that speaks for itself. The timeline, I'm going to go back just because I'm not at that yet. The timeline on this is important, as we've seen from what the agenda reports claims was in the file, on what the decision was based, which is inaccurate. Early in this process, arborist James Allen, the same names are just a coincidence, Arborist Allen was hired by the property owner to assess the trees for removal. There was no mention from the property owner of any water or sewer problems in early May. Arborist Allen, I hope you read his report that he submitted, found no basis for the trees removal. On May 16th, there was this email exchange between the city arborist and the site project manager. So after it was claimed by a very reputable arborist, James Allen, there was no basis for removal and no mention of any problems with any pipes, suddenly we start to see a defensible file created. The response from the city project manager to the arborist in that quote was, "Hi, Leslie, thank you for your continued support and for flagging the need to build a comprehensive, defensible case for the removal of the 2 redwood trees at 401 Ingalls Street." This was way before any permit was granted. Now, the application for removal states that the trees are destroying the utilities and the sidewalk. I think we can see quite clearly that the sidewalk is not being destroyed. That one little raise that is in the next door property, I put my ruler in, it's less than ½ an inch raised, easily fixable. And there's the other one, that the 1½ to 2 inches claimed is on the side, not a problem. Now, there's 2 reports. Bosinger's report was in early after Mr. Allen said no problem with the trees, Arborist Allen, and a professional engineer. Now, the Arborist Bosinger's report is full of exaggerated language and non-standard ways of assessing trees. A little bit more on that later. The professional engineer, and I put his quote, that's the full sum of his report, basically is generalizations. He didn't do a site visit. It just says, yes, we've seen damage done to buildings, foundations and walls leading to cracked windows by tree roots before. Well, not this building. He didn't inspect it. And he just agrees with Bosinger's report. There's no other ways to mitigate other than removing the tree, which Arborist Allen, whose in-depth report you've got, disagrees with. So that's a sort of the professional judgment. Now, I'd like to just share a few slides, you're familiar with them, of redwood trees that, according to Arborist Bosinger, would be the wrong tree in the wrong place, that there's not enough room between sidewalk and building to have such trees. This is next to the fire station. This is opposite City Hall, that way, and the beautiful tree in front of the legal buildings, the lawyers' buildings, attorneys, sorry. And I hope in your busy lives you'll take a minute to look at that tree. It is a stunningly beautiful tree, right next to the sidewalk. Building and tree doing just fine. There's some more, I always forget where that center or cedar, right up to the sidewalk, large buttress roots. Again, the same from another view. So redwood trees close to sidewalks and buildings in the downtown area are happily coexisting. Now, the claim is that sewer and water line issues, even though they weren't raised by the property owner with arborist James Allen. But let's have a closer look at those. You have just seen from the video that after the appeal was filed, the city dug a trench to expose the pipes. And it has been noted that the property owner did a more thorough investigation of the building during his due diligence period than most buyers. That was noted by Mr. Auer, who was the real estate broker. And that, according to Mr. Auer, there was no utility damage identified as a problem close to the sale of escrow. But here we are later on the process and they found problems. Now, the water leak was mentioned in May as part of the exchange between the property owner and the city arborist. But only after the appeal was filed did the water leak become so extreme it was flagged by the water department and the water turned out. off. It apparently been leaking since May, but it wasn't until August, after the appeal was filed, August 1st, that it became this significant problem. Now, the contractor, Brad Roddick, addresses the water lines in his report to you. I believe, and I think it's pretty obvious, rerouting the utilities is a red herring to show that it'd be so expensive, and the city can't demand or ask for that anyway. But what hasn't been determined, and should be if this was a tree assessment procedure rather than tree removal procedure, would be to see if the lines can be replaced on site rather than rerouting. So Mr. Roddick suggests that there's no, and he's a contractor, but he also knows water pipes, that there's a far less expensive method of addressing the water line without the need to relocate the water meter. And it's common to replace water lines on site by relining and bursting. The file includes no documentation, only a one-sentence claim that these methods at this site are not possible and that they have been done before. Now, in this video you saw, this was ostensibly to see if there is a back pitch on the sewer line. Let me just go to the next slide there, and you saw this a moment ago. That is the water line, white one in top with a bit of dirt on it, and the sewer line beneath it. However, that pipe is on the water line. So I'm not sure what the conclusion from this is. But if you're going to do a trench, so far, the question would be, why not a bit further to see if you can locate whatever, apparent, if there is a back pitch, where is that and what's causing it? There are methods to do that that won't hurt the roots, and that was not tried. And Arborist Allen details the methods commonly used to expose tree roots and utilities without damaging the roots. That would reveal the origin of the back pitch. Now, I'm noticing time, I've got to do this. So look at this video, or the still now of the video. Look at the pipe. It shows seams and joints. The voiceover references both seams and joints and says they're in good condition. That's before they reach the standing water. And the comment is, well, that will need to be fixed. Now, the correspondence from the project manager on May 16th claims there's a back pitch sewer line and a water line leak, and this was revealed by a plumbing engineer. But there's no data associated with that claim, no evidence that the tree roots are the cause. Here at the top of this view is a definition of pipe bursting. Pipe bursting creates a new sewer line where the old one is, and it's seamless. And then it says what it's made of. It's seamless, and its major advantage is because it eliminates joints and seams. We just saw a sewer line that had joints and seams in it. The record says from the property manager that these pipes were replaced with seamless methods. So how come we're looking at a video that has seams when it was supposedly replaced with a seamless method? Don't know whether you can read that photo. It is from the building department, and it is dated 401 Ingalls, over the counter at the building department, 11/1/2019. And it documents a sewer repair in late 2019 by Buddy Griggs Plumbing for 401 Ingalls, which was final by the city. The email from the property owner says that these pipes were replaced recently, but they messed up because they used pipe bursting replacement method. The old pipe had a dip, the new pipe has a dip. I would strongly suggest, and I think Buddy Griggs Plumbing, who is highly esteemed in this community, having replaced a sewer problem, and the city who finalized it, would have fully inspected in 2019 that the final job had the correct pitch. So that fact, the date of the sewer repair at 401 Ingalls, and the undated video with seams and joists suggests it is an old video showing a sewer problem that was subsequently fixed. And that's why sewer and water problems probably didn't arise until the owner was looking to remove the trees and was not raised when he hired arborist Allen to find reasons to get rid of the trees. So the basis for this appeal is the fact that the Parks Department has supplied no evidence to support the granting of a tree removal permit for these two redwoods. In addition, they have demonstrated bias that compromises their duty to protect and preserve our remaining heritage trees. I will close with a brief statement from arborist James Allen, who could not be here today, so I will read it on his behalf. It's quite short. Honourable Mayor and Council members, my name is James P. Allen. I'm a board-certified master arborist and certified urban forester with over 50 years of professional experience in urban tree risk assessment, infrastructure conflict mitigation, and construction protection of mature trees. Earlier this year, at the request of the applicant, I conducted a level 2 inspection of the two coast redwoods at 401 Ingalls Street. At that time and today, both trees exhibit good vitality, fair structure, and no conditions meeting any accepted standard for hazardous designation or heritage tree removal. The justification for removal presented in the Bossinger report relies on exaggerated and non-technical language, phrases such as gigantic root system, enormity, and overdeveloped roots. These are not recognized diagnostic terms. Buttressed root architecture is normal for redwoods. It is not a defect. More concerning, the report asserts sewer and water line damage without excavation, without camera confirmation at the time of permit approval, and without verification from a licensed utility specialist. That is conjecture, not evidence. Urban root infrastructure conflicts are routinely managed through standard mitigation, hand excavation, root pruning, pipe sleeving, sidewalk shaving, trench bridging, and directional boring. These are not experimental solutions. I have designed and supervised them successfully for decades, including beneath mature redwoods that remain healthy today. Tree removal is irreversible. Utility repair is routine and correctable. These two trees are healthy, structurally stable, and fully retainable through standard arboricultural and civil engineering practices. Their proposed removal is based on unsupported conclusions, not established science. I respectfully urge you to uphold the appeal, deny the removal permit, and direct appropriate root protection and utility mitigation design. Thank you for your time and your stewardship of Santa Cruz's urban forest. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now hear from the applicant for a period of time up to 20 minutes. Mr. Allen, good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Thanks for spending a long Tuesday here. Quite a lot to unpack with that. I'm not sure quite how to approach it, but I just know that the report from the city really speaks for itself. It's hired a professional arborist. He had his conclusion. A structural engineer went through everything. I had 3 plumbers look at the line. 2 of them filmed it. I didn't video the first guy filming the plumbing line. I videoed the second one. That was definitely after the property was purchased. It sounded like that was like a video from back before in 2019. Buddy Griggs, he did the sewer line at my house. He's great. The sewer line flows uphill from the edge of the building to the sidewalk. That's damage. I think that's, didn't really expect to have a sewer line video. You guys all probably learned more about sewer lines on Ingle Street today than you wanted to ever know about. In terms of, hired the professionals. The city advised me to really do a good job with all the details and all the professional opinions I could find, and I did that. And to me, it seems like it's a pretty straightforward case. There were no shenanigans going on. This is just, following the rules and kind of plodding along through the process of the city to have 2 trees removed that are causing damage to the utilities on the property we just bought. This is going to be the future home for Altera Solar. We're really excited about it. We're trying to get our permits in place to do some improvements to the building, and this is just one of the steps we're trying to get through. And it's been a long, tough process. I don't know, 5-6 months, and here we are today. So I hopefully the city arborist report speaks for itself. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We're now going to go to public comment. Public comment on this item.
Hi, I'm Keith McHenry, and my grandfather was the chief naturalist at Yosemite for 17 years and retired here to Santa Cruz, and as the person that started the tidal pool walks at Natural Bridges. And so my family has been very involved in protecting nature for, I would be the 3rd generation park ranger in our family. When you look at the building, which is clearly built after the redwood trees were already there, that is one of the ugliest buildings possible, and we're going to cut down some beautiful heritage trees so that this ugly building will avoid having to just fix the sewer and power lines and so on. Seemed like the best option would be either to remove the building or at least a cheaper option rather than just destroying the building, because it is really ugly and should not, it's a blight on our community, would be to just fix the sewer lines and everything. I think that the presentation by the appellate was very clear, shows that there's no reason to be cutting down these trees other for the convenience of the new property owner. Now, I think that we need to save trees in this town. As the final slide in the appeal showed, there's 300 or 400 trees, heritage trees have been taken down in the city, including the ones at the farmer's market. These are our heritage. This is how, we're just erasing our heritage. The other thing is that, the solar energy is supposed to be for net zero and to save the environment. Yet here we have a solar company wanting to cut down carbon sequestering trees outside their building so they can make money selling solar. We also are seeing, for instance, that there's a lot of hypocrisy in this environmental issue. My father and myself, we put solar hot water heating on our house ourselves in the 70s, so we're not unfamiliar with alternative energy. But to cut down tree after tree to protect the environment seems counterintuitive. So the same thing with the clock tower project. We're taking down 2 more redwood trees because you need to have like a green tower be put there because of, and then we're going to cut down, I guess, a few thousand redwood trees on Highway 1 so that environmentally sound buses can go on the bus route. It's completely insane what is going on here. Thank you.
Anyone else? Good afternoon, sir, and welcome.
My name is Marv Lewis. Hello, Ms. Mayor, Council. There is substantial pushback within the agenda packet that draws into question both the integrity and validity of the staff recommendation to deny the appeal from the agenda packet as placed within the staff cover letter. Appellant Jillian Greenside, through city staff, requested access from the property owner to allow for her own plumber to prepare an estimate to reroute the sewer system. The property owner was not comfortable with the appellant's plumber reviewing and preparing an estimate at the appellant's expense on his private property, so access was denied. Next, from J.P. Allen, board certified arborist. These trees are healthy, structurally stable, and fully manageable within accepted arboricultural and civil engineering standards. In summary, the proposed removal is based on unsupported conclusions, exaggerated language, and post hoc justifications that were not present when the permit was originally approved. Next, from Santa Cruz Utility. This was a requisition by Altura Solar. Reroute will cost $74,400 as placed within the application packet. Next, from R. Roddick Construction, the cost estimates for such relocations are unreasonably high. The existing water meter is approximately 20 feet from the nearest redwood tree and out of the drip line, which would indicate that if there were roots from the tree that have migrated in and around the main water line from the water meter, that these trees, that the roots would be easily removed. And that we can't believe in the assessment that the meter and water line would need to be relocated. My assessment, the ordinance requires finding of facts, not assumptions. When multiple professionals disagree that alternatives are feasible, removal cannot reasonably be considered a last resort. Heritage trees are intended to be preserved unless evidence shows that removal is necessary. Here, the existing record shows conjecture, not confirmed structural damage. This is really coming down to just because preservation is expensive, it does not mean that we get to tilt our process in favor of people that have an economic interest at heart. When our ordinance says explicitly what the guidelines allow, and this is not allowed. Either get an independent third-party assessment or deny the appeal.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Do we have anyone online? We'll take the first person online. Good afternoon. Welcome to the City Council meeting.
Yeah, this is Garrett again. There is plenty of a sad silliness to the Heritage Tree Ordinance, and it confirms again you and others' lack of respect for private property, although maybe not in this case. The ordinance itself is under the Peace, Safety, and Morals section of the City Code. While a tree can be unsafe, removal is unlikely to be denied if that's the case. I can't imagine how heritage tree removal can violate the public peace or morals unless by its removal somebody has a hissy fit, but that's a problem in itself and nothing really to do with private property rights. The reality is we have plenty of trees. Some people don't have trees, others do. And you and others harass those who do plant trees by this ordinance, and it actually discourages people from planting trees due to the cost of forced perpetual ownership, fees, fines, costly appeal ordeals. It actually says a tree or shrub can be a heritage tree or shrub if in your sole opinion it is unusually beautiful or has significant arboricultural value, is that even a word, to the citizens of the city, whatever that means. There is not a lot of ordinance difference between private and public heritage trees. There should be. Further cementing the reality to me, the ordinance by intent seems to care less about private property rights. It's a bit too tree hugger, disrespectful of private property rights, and more redwood trees were lost in the recent fires than will ever exist in the city of Santa Cruz, and they still aren't what anyone can factually call rare. It's unlike a great many other more reasonable jurisdiction ordinances, although redwoods are commonly a protected species. The ordinance and law punishes the good guys who plant trees and doesn't respect the private property enough Well, I would add, I don't know, maybe I won't add. Anyway, I personally have a tree I'd like to cut down. It's a heritage tree. It is healthy, but it's within about 10 years of the end of its life. And, you know, like some trees, like a fan palm, only live 70 to 90 years. This one's about 65. And, you know, I would fear going through this process if somebody didn't like the idea. And it's silly, you know. I mean, heaven help if a 120-foot palm tree fell in somebody's house like mine. So, I don't know. I think you're doing the right thing. Well, I think the staff's doing the right thing. And I think you should deny the appeal. Thanks.
Well, thank you. Anyone else online? Anyone else with us in council chambers wishing to provide comment? Seeing and hearing none. Ms. Greensight, you have up to 5 minutes to rebut any issues that are raised without yourself raising any new issues.
Thank you, Mayor. This item was changed. The time was changed. I wasn't aware of that. And this was supposed to be at the end of today's agenda. Is this the end of today's agenda? Oh, it is. Okay. But that may explain why some people who were going to come and say a few words expected it to be around 5 or 6 o'clock. And I did check where you were at about half an hour before leaving, and you were still on the consent agenda. So anyway, that just may explain that. But thank you. I thought it might have been shifted. Just to respond without bringing up anything new. First of all, I was pointing out discrepancies in the video of the pipe, which in the file from the applicant's side of things said it had been previously bursted, the sewer pipe. Let's stick with that one. A bursted or relined sewer pipe has no seams. So if we're seeing a video of a pipe with seams, either that pipe wasn't replaced and could be, or it's an old video. I take it on faith that it isn't an old video. Therefore, that pipe has not been bursted. And it also, the timing doesn't accommodate or account for the entry at the building department that Buddy Griggs Plumbing repaired the sewer in 2019. So there's some things that don't add up here. If I take it again on faith that if the sewer line has a back pitch, but that does not mean it cannot be fixed. And my main point here, I had to bring a lot of stuff in to make the point, is that there is no definitive proof to say that the tree roots have or even are likely to have an adverse impact, in this case, the particular one creating a back pitch. That has not been demonstrated. And that's all that we're asking, is that you actually uphold the appeal and have that determined, because it might not be the roots. It could be a rock. It could be the soil sump. There could be a number of reasons. And if it is shown, and it is possible, to excavate, as I don't think Arborist Allen, he's speaking industry standards. You can get the soil out, examine where, and even a camera can pinpoint exactly where is that back pitch originating. You then get the soil out of the way and you see what's causing it. If it is a big root, then you can do something about that. And if it were determined that nothing could be done, then I wouldn't be standing here today. I'm standing here because that has not been demonstrated. It has not been demonstrated because we have a staff who is saying, or calling this a tree removal process before even granting the permit to remove the tree. I don't know, if you don't see a problem with that, if you don't think this compromises this process, then there's nothing more I can say. And as far as the fact that, yes, private property is private property, But many cities like ours have determined that heritage trees are also a community asset. And so there are rules, just like you can't give noxious fumes in the air at your property because it affects other people. You can't just cut down a heritage tree without good reason that is documented in the ordinance. And the fact that we've got plenty of trees, as one of the callers in said, it is city data that says that 300 to 400 heritage trees are cut down with permit every year in the city. I've seen them gone from where I live on the Lower West Side in the 45 years that I've been, seeing them one by one, big, beautiful cypress and other trees, just gone. And other people who love trees have noticed that is happening. So I think that in this case, the grounds are not there. There's more that can be done. And if at the end of doing fact-finding, there's simply no option, then that decision could be made. But I think all the experts have shown that it can be addressed, remedied, and the trees saved. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Greenside. Public hearing's closed. Matters back before the body. Pleasure of the body. Councilmember O'Hara.
Mayor, I'd like to move to adopt a resolution to deny the appeal and uphold the Parks and Recreation Commission's approval of the heritage tree removal permit application, TR 250087, submitted by property owner James Allen to remove 2 coast redwood trees located at 401 Ingalls Street.
There's a motion. Is there a second? Councilmember Golder. Motion and a second. Councilmember O'Hara, you may open on your motion.
Thank you. And Mayor and colleagues, you're going to have to forgive me because I'm going to opine for a few minutes here because this is.
I'm sorry.
I said you'll have to forgive me because I'm going to opine for a few minutes on this motion.
Take such time as you need.
Thank you. I want to talk directly about the appellant's appeal, and particularly around the last couple slides, or maybe even the last slide, where there is a note that there is no evidence and that there's bias, and that is the reason why we should be considering the appeal, or consider upholding the appeal. And what I want to comment about is, I think inherently in these processes, it's not a matter of there not being evidence. It's a matter of there not being evidence that everybody can agree with. And I think that is part of the discretion that we as a city have in considering these tree appeals. And it is within a much larger context that I want to talk about. So I also want to provide some feedback on the responsibility of our certified arborist and urban forester, Ms. Keedy over here, because it gets to this question of bias. So in our city, we have about nearly 27,000 trees in our city-owned property, and that does not include our open spaces. And rather than 300 to 400 trees cut down, we issue permits for somewhere between 150 and 200 permits a year to either alter or remove trees. Some of those are heritage, some of those are not heritage. So that amounts to about 0.5% of our entire urban forest. And I would argue that the process that Leslie has to uphold that is associated with her findings must be rigorous, it must be iterative, and it must provide the highest level of customer service that she can provide. She is also responsible for the health of our entire urban forest. What you do not see, and what we do not see with these individualized tree permits and the appeal process, is the work that the Parks and Rec Department and Leslie do to preserve countless trees on an annual basis to ensure the long-term health of our urban forest and to ensure that, I will give an example, this is not anecdotal, this is very personal. My first home that I bought in Southern California was a tiny little bungalow in San Diego. Our front yard had 2 plots of grass that were about 6 feet wide by 10 feet wide, let's say. In my early 20s, my husband and I decided to plant a sycamore in one of those little tiny pieces of open property in our front yard. And it was the best decision we could have made in our early 20s because it provided shade for our front yard. It was beautiful. And then as we continued to inhabit this home, we realized that this tree was not appropriate and we made a terrible decision. And so I would also argue that, yes, heritage is incredibly important. The upholding of heritage, the upholding of our long-term culture, of thinking about how important our urban forest is beyond a shadow of a doubt, incredibly important, but there is this question of the decisions that were made by previous generations and whether they actually are appropriate for today. And I would argue that myself as a 25-year-old young woman who had no idea what a sycamore would do to my front yard and to my home, it should not necessarily be universally upheld 30 years later. I will also say that what is not included in these permits, and I can also speak about this personally, is the massive amount of leverage that our local business owners and our local community members put into purchasing homes and business buildings, and the concept that that investment could be compromised 20 years down the line because a tree needs to stay in the ground, that could completely destroy that homeowner's investment and that business owner's investment. And I will say that from my personal experience, if I had to remove that sycamore now, after potentially destroying utilities in the ground in my home, it might not be feasible for me to do. And so I want to be very thoughtful about the unspoken issue associated with these decisions are how do we support our local homeowners and business owners in making tough decisions to ensure that their investments are sustainable. So that's why I'm moving forward with denying the appeal. Last time, Jillian, you came around the clock tower, I also wanted to ensure that we had learned some lessons because honestly, every time you come in front of us, you put in front of us questions about our process. And I think that's really important. I do not think that we should be overtly guiding applicants to providing more evidence. I think we should advise applicants as to what evidence is required, and then we should move on. And so I do think that is something that I take very seriously from your testimony. It is the responsibility of the applicant to be informed as to what evidence is required, and it is by virtue of an incredible level of customer service that I think Leslie provides. That is how I am interpreting her process to ensure that there is a valid and fully justified application. I think that does inherently put her in a place of conflict. So I would like to learn a lesson from this process, and I want to appreciate the appellant for bringing this in front of us. I would prefer that we sit with an applicant, provide all of the objective criteria for the application, and then ensure that they understand, they are leaving that process with a full understanding, and then let them guide themselves through the process. That would be my preference. So thank you for the opportunity for these comments, and I think that is it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Further debate or discussion? Seeing here none, the clerk will call the roll.
All right. Councilmember Triguero,
Aye.
Bruner,
Aye.
Newsom,
Aye.
Holder,
Aye.
O'Hara. Aye. Vice Mayor Kalantari Johnson.
Aye.
And Mayor Keeley.
Aye. Motion passes and so ordered. We are on our last agenda item for the year. This is the election of the vice mayor for 2026. Councilmember Golder is recognized.
I would like to thank the vice mayor for her service this year, and I would also suggest that we, as vice mayor, I think having somebody in that position for 2 years helps with continuity, and I think she was the highest vote getter in her election, and so it just makes sense that she stays in that position. So
Is that your motion?
that's my motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second by Councilmember Newsom. Debate or discussion? Any other nominees? Councilmember.
Thank you for your nomination and your trust in me.
Very good. Further debate or discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries and so ordered. Congratulations. Thank you for that nomination. Madam Vice Mayor, thank you for your very good work this year. Look forward to working with you next year. Very good. Ms. Bush, do we have further business to come before the council?
I do not, no.
Mr. Condati, I want you to think long and hard about this. Is there further business to come before this body?
I think it's fair to say I have no further business to come before
You
this
have
body.
no further business. A motion to adjourn.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
What happened to, it was on the agenda.
Here, come up here.
I don't like to
You, I'm gonna recognize you under a point of order.
Thank you. On the agenda, it had, after the tree appeal, there was the issue of the relocation of the clock tower to Redwoods. That was on the council agenda.
Mayor, it was an FYI.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that was an informational item, not an action item. We're talking about the same item.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So the
listed as information only.
public can't speak to that. I'm sorry, that was a question.
That was a question.
And the
Let me
public,
do this. In the
Yes.
spirit of the happy holidays, take 1 minute.
thank you very much. Well, in the words of Winston Churchill, a success is the ability to go from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. So I will speak to that. I was very disappointed to see that there were just two choices sought for relocating those, and both of those two choices were unreasonable. One was on site, unreasonable, otherwise they would have stayed on site. The other one was San Lorenzo Park, unreasonable. One site that was doable and reasonable was next to the town clock. There's already 2 open planting areas, and that should have been looked at as a possible site. And to not see that done, it just suggests that it was not a serious search. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Condati has said he has no further business to come before us. I am going to assume no one else does either. A motion to adjourn would be in order. The former vice mayor, many, many years ago, moves to adjourn for the year and reconvene in January. I think that Councilmember Triguero, being new to this, still is excited about all this, but we're going to adjourn anyway, I think. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries as ordered. Happy holidays to everyone.
Recording stopped.